I am here in Medjugorje and I'm with, what's your name?
Bobbie Dilquist,
And where are you from?
Blackfoot, Idaho, USA.
First time for you here?
No, about 13,
13, 1-3.
1,
13. Wow. Why do you come back all the time?
The peace, the comfort, just feels like home. Like,
And when you heard the first time about Medjugorje, what did you think?
oh my golly, there were no words to explain the feeling. The people were just overly generous, and it was just a lovely place to be, pleasant, peaceful. Yeah. It was good.
And from the beginning, you believed the story when you heard the story?
Absolutely. Oh, yes.
Straight away?
Straight away. Yeah.
Always you have been Catholic?
Cradle Catholic.
Cradle Catholic. Your parents taught you well.
I hope so.
What did they tell you? What's so beautiful about the faith?
The faith is just knowing that God is there. And I'm sorry if other people don't believe that, but I know in my heart that there is one. I've had so many prayers answered. I've asked for prayers to be answered. Some of them have had yet still to be answered, but I know I have the faith. I don't dispute that there not being a God and Him not hearing our prayers.
Wow, so beautiful. You pray the rosary?
Every day, twice at least.
Why do you pray that prayer?
Gives me comfort. No, and it makes me feel that I'm actually talking to our mother, that she's listening to me and she's kind of maybe talking back, although I may just hear it.
And you made the experience when you live in the intention, thy will be done in my life, that your life is more smoother, more in peace.
At peace, very much at peace. I become probably more stronger in my Catholic faith since I had my son. And after that point in time, then that just came like I needed to do it. Not that I was forced. I knew I needed to do it.
In your heart, it's a knowing in the heart.
Yes, yes.
And you know, people want to have this personal relationship. That's the center of our faith. How can a person have this personal relationship with Christ? What would you tell them?
Well, first, I know faith is trust. And without trust, I don't think you have faith. And if the good Lord has always pretty much answered most people's prayers, the miracles, everything like that, there's no other reason why not to believe. And to believe means that trust.
Yeah.
I mean, it's like you love somebody. You don't love them because you say I do. You love them because you know them. So you have to know God in order to have that same feeling.
So you read the Bible also, the Word of God?
Every day.
Every day. That's how you know Him, no? You have a favorite Bible scripture?
Not off the top of Romans is what I like. But right now I'm in Mark. So I've been reading through Mark.
Wow, so beautiful.
Yeah.
Yeah, and that's for the people out there. Just start reading the Bible. Maybe randomly open.
Just even a little paragraph every single day. It'll come. It takes time, but it will come.
And you said you had a miracle. Your friend said you had a miracle here. You saw the spinning of the sun.
Miracle of the sun. Yes.
Explain how is it? People don't believe it. I try to capture it. It's hard, but describe it for people. What happens?
What I saw was like, it was kind of like a rainbow, but it was pulsating. It didn't come like towards me or away from me. It just kept pulsating in this beautiful colors. And I had a silver necklace that I wore, but when I got back home, it turned gold. I had a rosary that turned gold.
Wow.
And so I know. I mean, I have total faith in the Lord. It's just, I know.
It's a knowing in the heart. And you would tell people also, if you want to know God, just cry out to Him and say, I want to know you, and that you will get signs.
I think again, it all comes back to, knowing that you trust somebody, and you can't trust a person that even if you love them, if you don't have that trust, how do you love them? If you don't have trust in God, how do you love God? If you don't have the faith, how do you have the faith unless you have that trust and love? I mean, it's in a circle. It's just all. It needs to come together. Sometimes it's hard for people.
And you always had that faith, or it grew?
It grew.
Or you had a pivotal moment in your life? An encounter?
Having my son was the pivotal moment, because I had this fear that I was going to lose him to something bad. and I'm still praying.
Yeah. And you know, that's part of Bobbie was saying, the heartfelt prayer of a mother goes very, very far.
Yeah.
I see a lot of people, they say like, that my grandmother prayed for me, my mother prayed for me. It's the same with me. My grandmother prayed for me a lot, my mother.
Exactly. Every single day, every prayer I pray, His name is joined in that prayer.
Wow. And you know, confession is a very important point here in Medjugorje. You went to confession here, I guess?
Not yet. In fact, I was on my way, but
yeah.
my last confession was like 2 weeks ago. So
Yeah.
I'm a very, very avid Catholic. I used to be secretary for a parish in US, and so yeah, I'm very
And what
close.
would you tell people, why not? I mean, you went to confession here when you were 13 times here. What would you tell people? What is so beautiful about confession? Why not to fear it?
Because you feel clean, you feel cleansed. There's no fear to tell somebody, well, I mean, you see him once, you're not going to see him again. I guess it's putting it kind of bluntly, but I think once you get that pain out of your heart that's holding you back, the hurt with animosities, anything that they're carrying, the bag of rocks, if they don't let go, they'll always have them. If they won't let go, then what can you do?
Yeah, that's so beautiful. We said, just like a nun explained to me, she said, you have to forgive yourself. You have to forgive that you are free. You do it for yourself.
Yeah.
It's an egoistic act to forgive, to let go of things.
Absolutely.
And then you are free. It's true. You made
and
them.
your life becomes happy. You become more joyful with people. You become more pleasant with other people. I mean, you're not a grump anymore, you know. So your personality somewhat changes because you know the love. You feel the love. It may not be very intense, but there's enough there to know that you can say hello to somebody, and you're not have to be afraid.
You know, a lot of people think in the West that God the Father is an angry old man with a white beard and he's happy to judge us and put us to hell when we make a mistake. But it's not true.
No.
How is God the Father? Explain him.
To me, he is just the epitome of a true father. I mean, a lot of fathers don't have beards or anything like that, but the true epitome, because he loves us so, so much. We'll take our world. I mean, he gave us this world. He gave us life. He gave us families. He gave us our homes. Nobody thanks God for their homes, their food, their family.
Their friends.
Friends.
The guardian angel.
Everything. They don't know how to give thanks.
Health.
It's always gimme, gimme, gimme.
Yeah, health.
Absolutely.
Wow.
Absolutely.
And you know, when we go well to confession, when we are well confessed, we are in a state of grace, and our faith teaches when we are in a state of grace, we can receive the Eucharist. It seems a lot of people don't understand anymore what is the Eucharist. Can you explain?
I think they don't understand well, there's not very many kids going to Catholic schools anymore to learn about the sacrament. And I think that's a shame, but I think there's so much war in our world that a lot of people are afraid, families are afraid to give that to their children, even if they teach it at home. I think they're losing all that. I don't think that they're pushing, not that they need to push it, but to be able to service that information to their children so that they know how to grow up to be spiritual people.
Yeah. Have a connection with that endless love that God the Father has. They miss out, you would say?
I think they're missing out. I truly believe, as for myself, I have a son who's not close, but every day there is not a day that goes by that I pray for spiritual healing and conversion of heart. Yes. I know it's going to happen. I feel it in my heart.
Yes.
It may not be in my time, but I know it's going to happen.
Wow, powerful what you say.
Yeah.
And so the Eucharist is the true presence of Christ?
It is.
Explain a bit the Eucharist.
Well, there's been a couple of movies that I've seen that I know a lot of it has to do with your own belief. But I mean, I've been so close to the church from growing up. I'm a cradle Catholic. There's no reason for me not to believe that he is in the Eucharist. He is there. He's the one that gives you that peace when you take the communion. And it's not just a piece of bread, it's God. It's truly God. And if people haven't seen the host bleed before, whether it be on TV or in real life or in a movie,
It's the Eucharistic miracles you're talking about?
yes, absolutely.
And they exist. Go on Google, check Eucharistic miracles.
Yes,
Happen
absolutely.
through the history of the church. No?
And there's a book out there on Eucharistic miracles. I mean, it's not a 50-page book, it's a little book, but those are kind of things that if once you read that, it comes a little bit more, I think, closer to your heart.
Mhm.
You know, those who are looking and searching, I think that could be part of it if they just, get something like that.
Beautiful what you're saying. You have a favorite spot here in Medjugorje where you like to go to?
Actually, it's the blue cross on the mountain.
Mhm.
The people haven't seen that. Maybe
Why that?
so they Google that.
Yeah.
I don't know. It's just again, it's just like being at home. It's being at peace, and there's others around you that are supporting you. This is the only town, country in the world that there's this peace that just germinates. It just flows from people, and you don't feel afraid. It's just, I don't know how else to explain
No,
it.
that's exactly. I made 1,600 interviews. They all say the same, and I feel the same too. There's this peace. I came back from Malta last year from the island in December, and I said, first morning tour I said, man, something different here. The peace, even for me, the peace. There is something what is nowhere else to be found in the world.
It isn't. There isn't. And I think once they let themselves go and start even with a simple prayer,
Yeah.
that's always a beginning, and then maybe no end.
Yeah, that's so beautiful what you said. Just start with a simple prayer. I did too. I said, God the Father, show me that you love me.
Yeah.
You will get an answer.
Oh yeah. It may not be today or tomorrow. Maybe next week. Maybe next month. Who knows?
A coincidence, we call it God incidence, a book, somebody calls you, whatever, you will see.
Exactly. So.
And
yeah.
what is the most beautiful message of Our Lady here in Medjugorje for you?
Peace.
Peace, peace, peace.
We have so much turmoil in our world, and we need peace so badly. It almost makes me cry because I see how it's destroying humanity. People who are innocent had nothing to do with the wars. They're just trying to live a life that's comfortable and with their families and grow old and have grandkids, all those wonderful things. Peace.
Peace. And what would you tell people why come here one time?
Tell people I'm sorry.
Why? What would you tell people why come here one time?
It just feels like home. It's hard to explain how, when you go to your own home, you have comfort. You know where the refrigerator is. You know where the couch is. You know where the church is here. You know where there's places to stay. Where the altar is. I mean, there's just so many things that once you're kind of here for a little bit, that you learn. And it takes a little bit of that learning to know, and without learning, how do you get to where you'd like to be?
So you would say this is also, somebody said, a school here of Our Lady?
This is school.
And what does she teach here? What did you learn here?
It learned for me to open my heart a lot more than I have. I know that maybe I might have been a grump or something when I was younger. You know how kids are. They're just, it's about me, me, me. Then you learn it's not about me. It's about other people and sharing and giving and happiness and the sorrow and the patience that you share with them, because they may not have anybody. I work for a food bank. People have no food. I do it as a volunteer, and we give out food every Wednesday like Yakov does here. It's such a blessing to see people who are able to be helped. Maybe not just food-wise, but physically, emotionally, because they depend on that. And you're friends to them. They get to know you, and you get to know them. And
That's what you are doing for Jesus, like working at the food bank, for example?
As a volunteer,
Yeah.
yes.
Ask yourself, Jesus asked all of us, that's homework for you all, what do you do for Jesus?
I think it was time for me to give back.
Yeah.
I needed to give back for all the graces and blessings I've totally received in my life. There's nothing more rewarding than to help somebody else.
Wow, how beautiful. And at the end, what would you say, what is so beautiful about our Catholic faith?
I wouldn't give it up for the world.
Why?
It's important to have a faith. I mean, we all have different faiths, but that doesn't mean they don't believe in God. But this is the true faith.
Mm-hmm.
I personally believe it's the true faith. But
Why is it the true faith? What is so beautiful for you
well,
about
you
it?
look at it, 2,000 years of history. You have all the saints, the angels that were given to us, our Blessed Mother. I mean,
Eucharist.
yes, the Eucharist, the precious blood. I mean, the confessions. There's so many things to name.
It's so true what you are saying. What can I say? Thank you for this beautiful, beautiful interview. You want to greet somebody in the United States? Anybody you want to say hello to?
My son, William.
So William, your mom is here praying for you. I pray for you too. And William, come to Medjugorje as well.